I turned to her with a smile. "Oh my God, I love it when you talk Pulp Fiction, detective." "I know, right?" she said, her dark skin and brown eyes a picture of joy. Brooke and I met when we threw down in the 3rd grade. By the end of my first and only cat fight, I had a few missing hairs, a broken fingernail, and a new best friend. And we were practically twins, if not for the fact that she had long sable hair, chestnut skin, and light brown eyes, and I had curly auburn hair, pasty white skin, and eyes the bizarre color of chimney smoke. People would never be able to tell us apart. Probably because we were both exactly 5 feet tall. Not a centimeter more, not a centimeter less. It was eerie. In choreographed unison, we refocused on the slime ball sitting across from us. "Spill," she said. "Okay, sheesh." He pushed back his cappuccino and folded his arms over his chest, a defensive gesture that only added fuel to my suspicions. "I admit it, I had a copy of the test beforehand, but I didn't steal it." "I knew you cheated." I reached across the table and whacked him on the arm. Thankfully, Glitch wasn't much bigger than either of us, so the punch quite possibly registered somewhere deep in the scary depths of his boy mind, or that was my hope anyway. "You blew the curve, Glitch." Guilt washed over him. I could tell by the thin line of his lips, the chin tucked in shame. "You're such a wiener," Brooklyn said. "I really needed those extra points." "And where on planet Earth did you get a copy of the test?" I had to admit I was more than a little astonished and a tad jealous. He shook his head. "No way, I'm not giving up my source. And besides, you both got B's. It's not like you failed the stupid thing." Brooklyn reached over, curled a fist into his t-shirt, and pulled him forward until their noses were mere inches apart. "Clearly, you do not understand the innate intricacies and often illogical drives of an A-freak." She let go, disgusted. "I hate your guts." "No, you don't." He took a swig of his cappuccino, unconcerned. Like Brooklyn, Glitch was a bona fide child of 2 nations, with dark coppery skin from his Native American father and hazel green eyes, compliments of his Irish-American mother. And thanks to a compromise between the two, he had the coolest name on earth. Casey Neal Bluespider. The mix of ethnicities gave him a rich, enigmatic attraction. Though he hardly needed to, he kept his short black hair spiked with blonde highlights in an attempt to make himself seem wild and unpredictable, which was always good for a laugh. Glitch was about as wild and unpredictable as a carrot stick, though he did have an unnatural fear of turtles that was interesting. "You're just intimidated by my manly physique," Brooke snorted. "This coming from a boy who's barely tall enough to get on the roller coaster at the state fair without a permission slip from his parents." His grin took on an evil luster. "Least I get on, short pants." "Oh yeah? Well, at least I wasn't voted most likely to acquire gainful employment as Santa's elf." Guys, I said, holding up my hands for a ceasefire. "We can't fling short jokes at each other when we're all short. It's just not effective." "That's true," Brooklyn said in disappointment. "No, it's not. I am 3, count them 3, he held up 3 fingers for us to count, inches taller than the likes of you two. I can't believe I'm willing to be seen in public with either of you." "Glitch," Brooklyn said, a warning edge in her voice. "I will stab you in the face if you ever speak to me again." He squinted at her, completely unmoved, then turned to me and asked, "So, did your grandmother get her computer running?" "No, you're just going to have to stop by sometime and fix it." "Cool." He smiled in anticipation. "What's for dinner tonight?" I knew he'd do that. Brooke had already invited herself over, claiming she needed to upload her assignment because the internet at her house was down. Glitch would come over, fix my grandmother's computer in about 10 minutes, and then my 2 best friends would spend the rest of the evening keeping me company. It was the same every year. For a week before until a week after the anniversary of my parents' disappearance, they spent almost every waking moment with me, watching over me, seeing to my every need. They were amazing. I'm not sure what they thought I would do if left alone. I'd never been particularly suicidal, but they were the dearest friends a girl could ask for. The air seemed to turn dreary this time of year, thick and heavy, so having them around did help, and I totally loved being waited on hand and foot, so...